Now, this is a part, I'm just going to do this one tooth and show you an example of what colour teeth are. So I've put a bit of Naples yellow and blue together there. Then I'll come in with a sort of a little bit of a grey really in between the teeth there. And then I'll use the lightest white. I've got a titanium white. I'll come in here, and of course there's a bit of highlight on the teeth on this side, so I'll come back in and blend that into the teeth there. And it needs to be lightened just a little bit. And it's sort of a balancing act. You've got to keep going back and forward until you get that colour right. And I think it's starting to look pretty good. A little bit of a darker line on the lip there. So as you can see, it's moved along pretty good. I'm going to chop across to the arms a little bit. Now these, I mean, arms are sort of such a big expanse of skin here, and there's a very large transition area. And you've got a big area to cover, but you've got these transition areas. I've sort of come in here and I've marked darker areas here on her arms here, and I'm just sort of roughing this in right now. But to try and make an arm look round, you've got to have, you know, these dark areas in here. And I'm putting a lot more colour than I think I probably need. But like I said, I can always come back in there and readjust these later. And as you can see, I'm going to lighten this up a little bit more in here. This is sort of a transition area. And there we go. That looks a bit better. I'm coming in here, and I'm going to blend that dark into that light a bit more. You know, I'm moving this along a little bit quicker than I usually do, just because I have the luxury of sitting in my studio and scratching my head for half an hour before I even do something. But here I'm trying to make sure things move along at a pretty good clip. And it seems to be looking pretty good. There we go. A little bit of light around this side, because the light sort of bends around an arm. That's what makes it look round. I might put a little bit of this blue colour in here to sort of reflective light, like skylight in there. Mix a nice sort of a cool against a warm colour. And, you know, things look kind of rough in the beginning, but that's how portraits always start out. A little bit of a darker tone there on the edge, and then the light hits the outside of the skin. A little bit of a crease there in the arm, in the corner here. And no, this has come along. I'm fine. Michelle Obama's father was a swing shift worker in a boiler room, so he was a very blue collar family. They grew up in a one-bedroom apartment in Chicago. So you imagine going from that to the White House. It's a pretty remarkable journey. It just sort of goes to show you how far you can go in America. I think it's the only country you can sort of do that sort of thing. It's come from very humble beginnings and end up being at the White House. It's pretty amazing. And I'm putting a little bit of this blue colour on the top of her arm because it's showing a bit of that, even though it's not there in the photo, it's showing a bit of the skylight coming in through a window. It could be through a window, it could be from, you know, another light source, but by doing that, it gives me another dimension to that arm. It just makes it look that little bit more round. come back in and blend a little bit more of this dark into that red there. And you know, that's what I usually do, is I'll come in and I'll put a dark one in, put it in pretty haphazardly, then come back in and blend it later. And you know, and that's what skin's like. Skin's very, you know, slightly transitional, and that's the tough part, is tying down your transition areas. Apparently Michelle Obama, when she was a young girl, her favourite toy was the Easy Bake Oven. I think everybody had one of those at some stage. Oh, I didn't myself because I never cooked, but apparently that was her favourite toy. And she was very good on the piano. Apparently the family used to have to take her off the piano, actually stop her from practice, and she wanted to play that much. So she's a fairly accomplished piano player as well. So as you can see, I'm coming in here putting some pretty bold colours in her arms here. But rather be too bold than too bland. That's the key. It's just not being nervous about it. You know, bang the colour in, see how it works. If it doesn't work, the good thing about oils is you can always blend them out. Coming back in here with the alizarin crimson, a little bit of a warm glow there on this side of the arm. And like I said, it sort of looks like an arm now, but I'm basically just putting in the base colours. Burnt siennas, alizarin crimson, King's blues. But yeah, I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to put the lightest tone in the middle. So that's what I do. I go in, I'll put the heaviest tone, the darkest tone, then I'll put the mid tone in, then I'll sort of come back in and put a real light tone down the middle here, and then you blend it from there out. And that's where the work is sort of involved, is when you come into these areas, like from this lightest area to the darkest, is how do you transition the dark from there to there. So it's always a bit of a chess match doing that. But hopefully I'll be able to progress a little bit more. Next time you see this painting, there'll be a lot more detail. And I can start on the dress later. And the hands are always a tough part. They're very small areas that you have to make the fingers look round, so they're always a tough part of the painting as well. So yeah, there's a lot of roadblocks, but it's always fun. Alrighty, I think that's looking pretty good so far. I'll come back in later and I'm going to do some more adjusting and hopefully look like Michelle Obama.